What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode. Truly excited for this one. We have an amazing guest today. This is Efren with the Chacon Group here in San Diego, and I got my boy Oli with USA Mortgage. Let's go. And who do we have today?
And who we have today, it is our honor, Christopher Rodriguez, Oceanside City Councilman, father of 7, husband, former USMC combat veteran, Purple Heart recipient. Boy, his resume doesn't stop. Welcome, Christopher. We're so excited to have you, my man.
Thank you so much for having me, guys.
No, we're thankful that you made the time. We know you're running a campaign right now, and you're super busy, so it meant a lot that you're taking the time and being here with us.
Oh, I appreciate it so much. You guys are the real deal, so it's an honor to be here.
So it's amazing. I reached out to Christopher and I asked him to be on the podcast, and man, the guy, you're beyond cordial. Like, it's amazing. Like, I'm like, are you sure you're a politician? Well, the funny thing is, folks, we have an amazing podcast ahead of us, and Christopher, you guys have missed it. We had an amazing conversation before, so let's get the ball rolling.
Let's do it.
So, Christopher, tell us a little about your story, man. It was so much fun getting to know you. Like, where did your journey begin? How did you, where did you grow up? Where were you born? Tell us a little about yourself.
Absolutely. So, like getting to know you guys, I had very humble beginnings. I'm originally from Chicago. My father was a Latin King gang member and a very abusive, very violent man. And he would bring that violence home. And I remember often as he was wailing away at my mom, dumping garbage on her head, breaking plates over her head, I would be hiding my sister in the closet. And so he ended up sending her to the emergency room one too many times. And by the grace of God, a Catholic Church women's shelter for domestically abused women took her in. And with us, it was like a family-based program for single moms. Showed her how to get a driver's license. She didn't even have a driver's license. How to get a job. How to get into housing. And so the first several years of my life were very violent and very traumatic. And for a young mind, as you guys know, that is very impacting. You can go so many different directions that are not good in that environment. And so my mom, being an example of strength, an example of no excuses, really set the tone for the direction of my life. She eventually remarried my stepfather, who's a Marine. His name's Jack. He's like my dad today, and really showed me what it means to be a man and to be a man of honor and to love children that are not his. And, he's my baseball coach, and really gave me a different view on life from what my beginnings showed. But through that that trauma, I became a young father and ended up wanting to give my daughter a much better life than I had. I ended up graduating high school a couple years early. And I remember driving her to daycare before I went to work, and I heard on the radio, it was 9/11, and I heard that the Twin Towers were attacked. And as it unfolded, we found out it was a terrorist attack. And I remember a spark being lit in me, like of anger, of like, how can you do this to our country? So a week after my 17th birthday, I swore in to become a United States Marine. Hoorah! And went to boot camp, MOS school, and right to the front lines of the Iraq War, from Kuwait all the way to Baghdad, where we kicked down Saddam Hussein's palace doors right off the Tigris and took over Baghdad. And then I did a second tour in Iraq in Fallujah. It was a lot more combat, a lot more loss. I lost several brothers in the battle for Fallujah, 3 of which I have tattooed on my arm. 2, Sergeant Rios, hoorah, brother. Sergeant Rios, he died in my arms, and Corporal Fay died in my arms. Sergeant Parker got hit by an IED on round 4 to Iraq after I had gotten out. But these are close, dear brothers, and it's a constant reminder. These tattoos are a constant reminder of being thankful that I'm here, reminder to tell these guys a story and to keep their legacy alive for writing that blank check with their life to defend this amazing country. And so because of injuries I received in Fallujah, I was hit by a rocket-propelled grenade. It hit the building or the wall that I was firing from, knocked me back, traumatic brain injury. I lost all the hearing in my left ear, and I wasn't able to re-enlist. and they were going to take my driver's license away. But by the grace of God, through rehabilitation, our brains are pliable and those new synapses were connected, and I came back stronger than ever. But nothing to fall back on, right? Like, I wanted to be a Marine. I wanted to stay in the Marine Corps. That's who I was. And, but with no excuses, I started a small business and quickly, got into real estate, which you guys are very successful in. And I really found a gift in real estate and became successful. I was a top 250 Latino real estate professional in the nation.
Oh, NAREP?
Yeah. I was on the first list. Are you really?
Oh, shit.
I was on the first list, first round, man.
This is
NAREP is legit, man.
Oh,
heck
shit.
yeah.
We're gonna outtake this. This is an outtake. This has been the whole time.
Oh,
the
it's
whole
so
time.
awesome.
That's
So-
I was last year was the first year I did a NAREP, and I got
cool.
top 250.
Get it, man.
I got
Heck yeah.
number 47 in the Southwest, top Latino
Good
agent.
for you,
And
brother.
I'm, one of the board
That's
of
hard
directors
work,
for,
man. I served on the board and
Which one?
for the North County board. Yeah,
Oh, shit. I'm on the O'Hare board.
Get it. Love
Man,
it.
what a small world.
Okay, folks, I just want you to understand, this is what you get with a simple roadmap is we just forget about the podcast and we just go into friendship mode.
Boom.
So, but we're going to, Christopher is definitely going to bring value. He's throwing fire. Continue. Seriously.
Well, I want to
man.
highlight NAREP because a lot of people don't know NAREP. It's the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals.
Nice.
Their first mission is to create sustainable home ownership for the Hispanic community and also assist those that serve the Hispanic community, like real estate agents, loan officers, or anybody else that just wants to help the Hispanic community come up in this country, right? They make the struggle to come here, but no one educates them on how to actually maximize that hard work that they do. So that's what NAREP is about. And so that's
man, that's so
awesome, man.
cool, brother. Yeah, and having resources like that and being involved in this industry, I ended up after opening several offices and employees, I want to give, I think as fathers, we want to give our kids a better life than what we had. And so I grew up in a city environment, but what I found that was therapeutic, that helped me heal from, the trauma of war, was getting in the dirt with my hands, gardening, planting, watching things grow. And so I ended up buying a farm. So I bought a farm in Oceanside, and we grow avocado, guava, passion fruit, and coffee. Coffee is a new crop. Yes, it's a new crop in California. I partnered with UC Davis and California coffee growers, and we have I have 7 varieties on my property. We have over 1,000 coffee trees. We're on our 4th season, and I've completed the coffee processing courses. And like, if I could be doing something full time, it'd be out there, glass of wine in my hand, fixing sprinklers, doing what I do at midnight. And but I got to pay the bills, and the country needs me right now, and so I'm out, kicking doors down and taking names in a different way to serve the community. And so through that success, that segues the reason why I got into politics, because we didn't mention it, but I am running for Congress in the California's 49th Congressional District, which goes from Del Mar as the furthest south all the way up to Laguna Niguel into Orange County, including Camp Pendleton. But my political career began through success in business. We want to give back to the community. We want to be more involved in our community, because if our community thrives, our business thrives, and vice versa. And so I saw how dysfunctional local government was with businesses. And, you can go to the council meetings, you can write letters, but nothing changes. And so it really takes individuals like us from the community that understand a community to raise their hand to run for office. And I did. And I knocked on over 4,000 doors. I won Oceanside City Council District 2. Oceanside is the largest city in the district, the largest city in North County. We have just under 200,000 residents in our population. And since 2018, I've been dealing with major issues like homelessness, housing affordability, crime, infrastructure. I serve on SANDAG, which is the regional board of governments that manage our infrastructure funds from our gas taxes and our sales tax in the region, and fighting liberal policies that want to take our tax dollars and throw them at mass transit. That, by the way, only has a 3% ridership. That means 3% of our population consistently use mass transportation. I'm all for using it, and encouraging people to use it. But when 97% of our population is driving on our roads, we need to fix our roads. We need to do what we promised the voters and taxpayers we were going to do. And so your box starts growing in politics and policy, and you see, okay, it's not just local government that's dysfunctional, it's regional government. It's Sacramento. And we all know DC is a mess. And so I announced that I'm running for Congress. I think that our country needs fighters to represent them in DC. We need people that represent and are of the district. I'm Mexican American. And my family immigrated here from Mexico City area through Texas into Chicago, and legally became American citizens. My grandfather had a 4th grade education, but put his street smarts to work, opened a family business, and worked hard and achieved the American dream. And these are the examples we have in our life, right? Yep. And so, like, this country is amazing, but without excuses, if you're willing to work hard, you can achieve your version of the American dream.
Yep.
Holy smokes.
Amen.
Say that again. Say that again. And Christopher, like, seriously, when it comes to, I saw you were running for the 49th district. We're not big fans of politicians. We're really not. Like, just, they don't, you said the most impactful thing, they don't get shit done.
Yep.
So what's the point of making promises and you have no intention of following through? You are statesmanship.
Absolutely.
You brought it up, my man. Statesmanship. So that passion for servitude, where did that come from? Where did that passion come from where you had that obligation to serve your community?
You know, I think I'm a Christian by faith, and that is my worldview is based in that. And I have a family, I have a small business, and through that success, you want to give back to your community in different ways. And so, for me, my gift and my influence can come through being a political voice of the people, making those powerful decisions that impact everyday lives. You know, and so, you know, I see the individuals that I call empty suits. They're the guys or gals that wear the suit, look pretty, say the right things, backed by a lot of money, but, you know, excuse my French, don't get shit done, right? And those are the people we need to get out. And we need, you know, men and women that are of the public, that understand the issues, that have some life experience, right? That have kids that went through school, that have served our country, that have owned a small business, that can come up and represent the people. And I think now is the time. This is the season of change for our country, both locally and nationally, where we're seeing more and more everyday, ordinary Americans like me that are willing to step up, raise our hand, and do the right thing. And you brought up statesmen, which I think is the key to success in representing the people. A statesman looks at their power differently than a politician. A statesman receives their power and understands that they receive their power from the people. And they're a steward of power, right? And so that power, they're responsible for that power. And when I go to DC to represent the 49th, my sole responsibility is to take as much power from DC and bring it back to my people on the ground, and to protect those constitutional, God-given, inalienable rights. That's my sole responsibility. Everything else, I need to shut up, get out of the way, let the people do what they do best. And if we looked at politics and we looked at policy from that perspective, watch how much change can happen. It'll blow your mind.
I had never heard anybody refer to themselves as a statesman, right? Earlier you explained it to me, and it makes absolute sense. And because we were talking about, a lot of people confuse our elected officials. They consider them leaders. I have to listen to them. I have to do what they say. And they forget they're elected by the people to represent the people. Yep. And they are not leaders. They are representatives.
Correct.
They represent the people. They lead the country to how the people want it to be represented. And I love that you define statesman, because I had never heard that. You're right. They have the power, but the power is to be used for what the people want.
Yep, exactly.
To make the change for the better, for the community. And I love that. I've never, ever heard a politician say that.
No, it's
that's because Christopher is not a politician. Yes, he's not a politician, buddy.
No, and you know, I think what really activated me to, you know, I'm a warrior in a garden, right? And what activated me to come out of the garden is we're literally at war for the future of our families in this country.
Wow.
And through COVID, we saw government become tyranny. We saw governments overstep our constitutional rights, and our courts were shut down. So we couldn't even file the lawsuits necessary in this country to exercise our rights. And churches won, right? Mm-hmm. The people are winning on a monthly basis on all the government overreach. And a quote that I love that Thomas Jefferson wrote, when he was writing about the Second Amendment, a right to bear arms, he wrote this statement, which I think applies today with the times and seasons we're in, that when the people fear government, there is tyranny. But when the government fears the people, there is great freedom. And we need to switch that paradigm shift, because I think a lot of people have been afraid of the government. They've been complying out of fear. Yes. And we are in the greatest country in the world that has a constitution that protects you, that makes you free, that the world envies. And we need to switch that over. We need the government to start fearing the people again. And that's one of the biggest reasons I'm running for Congress, is we need to reinstitute that God-given fear that the government is here to serve the people.
What are your plans if you were to win the election? What are your plans on making that happen in DC?
100%. I'm a firm believer that, you know, if you could be trusted with the small things, you could be trusted with the big things. So I plan on top priority influencing this conversation on a local level with political leaders that I speak to on a weekly basis. Whether you're a Republican, a Democrat, independent, you got community leaders from the Samoan community. My district has the largest Samoan population outside of Samoa in my district. Oh yeah. And you got those leaders, and the churches. Right now, churches are getting so much more involved politically than they ever have that I've seen since, within the last, 5 decades. And they have a responsibility to. The church is supposed to be shaping culture, but they're not. They're stepping on the back burner, and they're letting other entities shape our culture. And there's this whole veil of separation in church and state, and we forget that separation is to prevent a state-run church, not to prevent the church from influencing politics. And so more and more pastors are coming out, getting their congregations involved politically, to run for local office, to be aware of the issues, to have candidates come speak, because that's their role, that's their responsibility. Because it's said when policies and laws are failing Americans, it's because the pulpits failed first. And I truly believe that. And, one of our First Amendment rights is the freedom of religion. And so we need to be able to freely express ourselves, get more involved. And so to answer your question, we need to help influence culture in our own backyards and spread out. Now, from a DC standpoint, we have more veterans running for office right now than I think ever before in U.S. history. It is freaking amazing. And the beautiful thing about veterans is we can work together. We could put differences aside, get things done for the American people. We've already proven ourselves. We've already sworn oath to that Constitution. We've already put our lives on the line. And we're not going to, obviously there's a few bad eggs and seeds anywhere, but we're not going to let money influence us. We're gonna focus on representing our districts, getting things done for the American people, and helping change the swamp. The culture. There's a lot of retirements happening in DC. You got lifelong politicians that are, passing away or retiring, and it's time for the next generation of Americans to step up and do the work of the people.
Mm-hmm. I said politics is really easy you got one term. One term and you're done. How easy would that be, folks? One term. Prove yourself, and if you prove yourself, you get reelected. If you don't, I know. That's that. So, Christopher, I think what I'm blown away is by your passion, and it's that passion because you truly believe a lot of, I think for me, it's hard to connect with most politicians because they're not sincere about what they're talking about. So when you talk about your family, when you talk about your purpose, when you're talking about your mission accomplished, I think that was the best I've heard someone make an analogy about what their goal is like you said, hey, I've gotten accustomed to the mission. So the way you're going to approach the 49th district is what's broken now that has to be fixed, that's slowing down the growth. What do you see that's holding that district back from becoming where it needs to be, especially in a city like San Diego, which is growing and the population is growing? So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And I'm often asked about a lot of local issues. And it's important. I think, civics is not taught in our schools anymore, unfortunately. So our children are not learning their responsibility as an American and the beauty of them participating in local government and getting involved and understanding their role. And so, when a constituent asks, what about this? What about that? Well, first of all, a lot of these issues are local issues that a local city council, for example, or a local school board or a county board of supervisor, or even a state level issue. Like a lot of our crime and homeless that we're experiencing right now are because of state level issues. There's influence I will have from a federal perspective on, for example, Congress controls the purse. We control the budget of the federal government. So I can influence more controls on how the money is spent to ensure it's going toward pathways that have measurable results, right? Instead of just throwing money at a problem that doesn't fix it. But our local, state assembly, our state legislator, state assembly, state senate, and our governor have 90% of the power when it comes to local issues. And our Constitution made sure of that, right? States have a sovereign power, and they only gave a little bit of that power to the federal government as a nation. And so we have to influence flipping legislative seats to individuals that understand the issues and that are going to vote, not based on a party, but based on real change for the 49th. Like, they should have froze the gas tax as a state level. They should have stopped that gas tax. The governor should declare state of emergency on the homeless crisis. We need to get rid of special interest funding. There's nonprofits that are making bank right now from government contracts. And you look at their numbers, 100% of their income is from government contracts. How the hell do you have a nonprofit with 100% of their income from government contracts? All they are is an expansion of government with no transparency. And if they actually solved the problem, they would go out of business, right? That's what we're dealing with. And I see that from a local level, and I never would have known how disgusting it is if I didn't serve on a local level. And I want to bring this to DC so that we have more control and fail safes. But when you're talking about local issues and making real change, it's a 1-2 punch. I'm going to be representing on a federal level. I'm going to be advocating, lobbying locally, but we also need to flip seats, and we also need to get more, men and women like you guys to run for local office. And that's what I encourage the audience, get involved politically with your church, tell your pastors to get involved, and look into running for local office.
I have thought about it.
You definitely need to run, brother.
You should run.
I've thought about it. Like, you're honestly hyping me up. You're motivating.
There you go.
So when my wife hears this, she's gonna be like,
"Oh boy, okay."
Another thing on the
bring home flowers.
When the announcement happens that he's running for whatever he's going to run in, we're going to bring Christopher back in.
Come on, I'm writing a donation check.
We're going to make an announcement. You know what? Actually, so I've thought about this, and I don't believe that complaining fixes anything. Okay, I genuinely don't. I don't like politics, but I haven't been involved because I'm like, I'm going to make a difference on my circle, my community. So I'll focus on local because I do think one person can make an impact. Yeah. But you said it brilliantly, which is, it's not about putting the right person in Congress. It's about changing the systemic problem, which is politics is not a profession.
Correct.
It is not a profession, in my humble opinion. What do you guys think?
I agree.
What do you guys
100%. 100%.
It shouldn't be. Because then how, like, the change that you want to make, how is it ever going to happen if you can't change the person that's refusing to make the change that the people want? So, we should have term limits. People should not make politics a profession. It should be to make the change The changes are made. You kept your promises. Thank you.
Move on.
Move on.
Yep.
Let's find the other person that's going to continue to keep those changes that the people wanted in place, but continue building on that rather than, we make positive changes and then a new individual comes in and only because of their political party. I've had dinners with people that are in politics of a certain political party and they don't believe in it. But they won't change or they won't speak up because they'll know that they'll lose their profession. Because they know that if they are outspoken against their political party, their profession is ruined, and that's why it should not be a profession.
Absolutely agree. And there's definitely a time limit of being in this arena because anytime you mix, power and opportunity for money, every day is a potential for doing the right thing for the people or compromise. And anybody that denies that is lying to you. And that's why you need to have goals on what you're going to get done, make it happen. And when you've accomplished your goals, it's time to get the heck out and let the next individual come in and represent the people.
I like speaking my opinion. I think it's really, really important. We're getting away from that. And Christopher, I got to be upfront with you. If more people went into politics that had your outlook on it, like we'd have very different communities. Like, you call it like it is, and like kudos to you for. Because it's not easy. I'm sure you get a lot of shit. You get a lot of criticism, don't you?
Yes, but that's a part of the job. It's a thankless job, and I'll be honest. I look at two guys right now sitting next to me that can be in this exact same spot, but you got to be willing to raise your hand. It's not easy. It's not easy, and you got to raise money because if you don't raise the money, how are you going to pay for the door hangers and the mailers and the signs and the TV commercials and everything in between? So it's definitely we'll be willing to do some sacrifice, but in the end, just like we're in the Marine Corps, we're not when we're in Fallujah or Iraq and we're kicking down doors, we're not thinking about America and rah freedom. We're thinking about the brother to our left and to our right, and our training kicks in, and we're there. Everything we do is for them, right? And a part of me when I run, I look at my wife. I look at my kids, I look at my new granddaughter coming, and I look at the future they're going to grow up in, right? And it's about legacy. We don't talk about legacy enough as men. And it's about setting that legacy and setting that path for the same opportunities that we were given to achieve our version of marriage. I want those opportunities to be there for my kids. And we have a one-party rule in DC, regardless of your political affiliation, that is looking to take away as many of those opportunities as possible to create dependency on government, right? We need to go the opposite. We need to be self-dependent on us and our hard work without excuse. And I want my children to grow up in an environment like that. And so it's the same concept. I'm doing it, and we need more men and women to step up and do it when they're capable. I understand everybody has bills and responsibilities as a priority, but if you're capable, stand up and people will come to you. Money will come to you to raise, and you'll make it happen. But we just need, to answer your question, there are men and women like me out there. They're just working 40, 50 hours a week or, running their new small business, and they just don't have the time. And so we just need to find the ones that do have the time and get behind them.
And we need to advocate for the Christopher Rodriguez's. So that way we change the system, because I firmly believe that we have a lot of potential, but we are getting weak. We're getting weak. We're not the nation of persistent, relentless. I take a punch in the face. I look at my kids. We talk about it all the time. It's like, look, hard work is the solution to most things, in my humble opinion. Hard work.
Absolutely.
You talked about raising money when you want to run a campaign. One of the issues that I see is that a lot of the individuals running for office depend on major corporations, and then that's how they get influence, and then changes don't fucking happen. Are you going to be taking money from big corporate? How are you raising your money?
So no, I'm not taking money from corporations. And my donation, I've raised, thank God, a little over $1.1 million since I've announced.
Man, congrats.
And that's a base of over 8,000 individual donors, grassroots with an average donation of less than $80. And
That's amazing.
And I'm so thankful I have this grassroots support. And that's what it takes. It takes the community getting politically involved, writing that $10, $20, $30 check to a candidate they support that is of the people, and getting these amazing men and women elected. It's not easy. I have to spend hours a day making fundraising calls, right? We deal in a currency of time. So I set aside my time to work to pay my bills. I set aside the time to make fundraising calls. I set aside time for local politics. I set aside time to love on my wife. We still do the weekly date nights. Time to be with my kids, right? Like we have to do it. No, we have to. And you know, I'm scheduled 2 weeks out because I have to master my time. And that's just me. Everybody's different. You know, I'm not a multitask kind of person. I have to be, you know, structured, and I thank God for the Marine Corps for that. And but yeah,
so you're saying that you made a roadmap.
Exactly.
The roadmap, baby.
Exactly.
Roadmap. So
insert plug there.
That was Ephraim. Nice, bro. That was an amazing question. So I have a follow-up question to Ephraim's amazing question. So how do you compete, my man? Like, how do you not sell out? How do you not sell out? Let's call it.
Yeah.
How do you not sell out, and how do you compete at that level when you have the suits going after the money.
Yep.
So how does someone like you compete and get into Congress, which is the change we need?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm supported by such a large grassroots level. Like my small dollar donations are larger on a quarterly basis than, you know, far left Democrat Mike Levin. Like he is supported by special interest groups, major large dollar donors. I'm supported by the community, the little guys, right? Like me, I look at myself as a little guy in the world of millionaires. And so that's how I'm going to compete, is to continue that influence as the underdog, as an individual of the people, as a Marine Corps combat veteran, father of 7, small business owner, wanting to fight for them in DC. That's how I'm going to win. Now, when I get there, the lobbyists, the special interests, they're going to come. Mm-hmm. And they're going to come, you know, hard to try to influence like they do very well in DC. And to answer your question, I believe if you have a plan in place, then you could prevent that influence. And my plan is every donation is filtered, or opportunity for a donation is filtered through a consultant and men and women in my life that are very close to me. I think it's very important to have brothers or a pastor or individuals that you could just tell them anything, run any idea by them, ask them their opinion, because I think it creates transparency and it creates accountability. And one of those individuals is my wife. Another one is my pastor. I have a consultant that's very smart, understands the community-based fundraising approach I'm doing. And so my entire goal is to continue to build my grassroots efforts so I will never have to be dependent on the special interests in DC. And we're not talking about special interests that are bad. Like it may be, you know, AT&T Wireless wants to give you $5,000, or Kroger grocery stores, or, you know, National Association of, you know, gun owners, or pro-life organizations, right? Like there's political action committees that they can give you up to $5,000. And so I'll definitely pick and choose which ones, because I'm going to accept money from organizations that I support and that I'm convicted to support. But when it comes to like major super PACs that are, you know, part of pharmaceutical companies, right? Yep. And they want to try to like leverage your vote on preventing, benefits for your district, and, seniors that need access to medicine, and, pre-existing health conditions that, I'm pro-life. That means I want to support your life, and you need to have good, affordable health care, not a socialist dynamic, but more competitive approach to health care. I'm going to be able to say no to that $1 million opportunity to get reelected because I have so much support from the community. And I think as we build that out, more elected officials, more congressmen and women will be able to approach it from that angle, and it'll limit the power of those special interests. That was a long answer. Sorry.
No. But see, those are solutions. So I'm big on. I think there's a lot of complaining that happens, not a lot of problem solving that happens. So I just share with my team. Ephraim is a great leader, and I believe in leadership in this regard. I think leadership is when your intentions are for the betterment of the people that you're leading, That's leadership. When leadership is all about you gaining, that's manipulation. So I'm all about leadership, and I think people in office should be leaders. So what you said is, like, once we solve the money problem, which is when you're dependent on lobbyists, they're going to get their agenda solved, not the community. So why are lobbyists allowed? Because they could buy. You could be bought. And that's what politics has become. And that's why so many people, I think, are disenchanted, because politics is, who can I buy? In my opinion.
Absolutely.
And you're going against it.
Yeah, and it's not easy. It's not easy, because you want to win, and I may be the best candidate in the world, and if I can't spend the thousands of dollars on the TV ads and the mailers, then I'm not going to be able to get my story and my message in front of the voters, right? And so it's a balance, but I was willing to do the hard work early on in making those calls, mailing out letters, asking for money, and the checks just started coming in, because I think people see this is a person of the community. He's real, he's sincere, he's not a politician, and they're writing those checks. And the ones that can financially afford it, they're writing the $2,900 max check, right? The others, they can only afford $5 because they're on a fixed income and they're retired. They write the $5. To me, it's a donation. It's somebody they just put their trust in me to get elected. And so I think to help other candidates in the future, there needs to be better explaining and assistance and programs on individuals that want to run like you, where I can come mentor and show you what's worked for me.
Don't influence me, bro.
Right? No.
What's going to happen?
I'm going to teach you how to fish. Right? I'm going to teach you how to fish, and then now you're going to be able to do these same things to raise the money that works. Because honestly, crowdfunding with the technology we have now, there's some people that are giving $5 a month. There's some people that are giving, $100 a month. There's others that write a big check. But as the numbers grow, the $150,000, $200,000 a quarter just from small micro donations, you see? So it's about getting the word out, and we need, and one of my responsibilities when elected is to help others get elected from the community, right? Like, I'm not just in this for me and doing up there. Like, I have a twofold responsibility. I need to help my backyard and others get involved as a team, and then I need to deal with the swamp, and I'm prepared for that.
You were the advocate for getting all former all veterans into politics. OEF vets.
Let's do it.
Fucking put them all together in a room. We're all gonna freaking run.
Bamsis, come on.
Christopher, you made me think about this. Like, how impactful? What is change worth? What is change worth? If change is worth you donating more, getting involved, that's what change is worth. Because there's a lot of talk. There's a lot of families I help that are not happy about the direction that we're headed as a country. And I used to be one of those that thought, one person, what the fuck is one? What am I gonna do? What difference can I make? Now I'm like, holy shit! For my tribe, I can make all the difference in the world. Bring my best every day.
Absolutely.
Imagine what world would look like if you brought your best every day for the people that matter the most.
100%. Yep. Absolutely.
When you do get elected, what's going to be your first 3 priorities?
Ooh. That's a great question. So the political climate in our federal government is, hopefully we will take back Congress. Republicans will take back Congress. We will take back the Senate. We're stuck with only 2/3 of the government. So we still have the ability to move forward on bills, passing the House and the Senate and going before President Biden's desk, which he can veto. So top priorities right now for the Republican Party are, we need to stop this runaway spending and the inflation, which includes more domestic production of oil on federal lands. We have to bring down our gas prices. We have to fix our supply chain issues. We have to lower those, everyday ordinary American costs so that Americans can thrive and they're not being taxed through inflation. We have to get a hold of inflation immediately. Like, it needs to happen now, but we don't have the conservatives in Congress to make that happen. Number 2 in issues in the country and in our district is education. Parents are pissed, you guys. Okay. Parents are pissed. Ooh. We need to, I think that the Department of Education has failed over the last decades, and if they can't fix their act, I think we should just need to decommission them. I think that's a little bit of on the extreme side. So more realistically, is we need to have a parental bill of rights, not a new program, not a new bureaucracy, but an accountable approach to education where school districts are required to provide a transparency portal for parents to see the curriculum that they're going to be teaching their kids before they teach it. And parents have the ability to opt out of social dynamics they don't want their kids taught, and the school districts need to respect that.
Okay.
So education is number 2. And then, crime is on the rise. We need a lot of that crime in Southern California up through LA is because of our borders. Our borders are porous, and we don't know what's coming in, from, fentanyl. We have a lot of drugs being poured in. The cartels in Mexico have taken over the avocado industry. They are smuggling in drugs through avocado. Through avocado produce.
Which is why avocado prices went up, a month ago? Because they passed the bill, no more import.
They've increased like 35-40%
because
on
the
avocado
administration
prices.
said no more importing of avocados from Mexico.
Yep. The cartels have taken that over. Yeah. They play by the rules that they're allowed. And when you have an administration and one-party rule like this that have an open border policy that are overrunning our borders, you have individuals that are coming over that we don't know who they are. Mm-hmm. I fully support legal immigration. That's how I came here. I'm thankful for the American dream. My barber, Beto, he's been in America 7 years. He just swore in to become an American citizen. He is a patriot. Nice. He loves this country. He's buying his first house. That is beautiful. But we have 330 legal ports of entry. We need to fix our immigration system to allow individuals that want to work here or live here to have a streamlined process, but we need to know who the heck you are. Mm-hmm. We want to make sure your intentions are good. And if you want to stay, we want to make sure that you leave wherever you're coming from behind and integrate into our beautiful, diverse American culture. Mm-hmm. And you swear an oath to our Constitution and our flag, and you want to live the best American dream possible. And I want that. And they're coming here. Individuals from all over the world are coming here, not because they want to go to Disneyland, right? They're coming here because they want a better life. Yep. They want to achieve the American dream that the world raves about. And so we need to secure our borders. That has to be a top priority. That will shut down a lot of the illegal drugs that are being smuggled in, that are getting onto our streets, that are causing crime. And so we have to secure our borders. That must be a top priority. A lot of the crime issues we're experiencing are from state level legislation that are soft on crime, that tie the hands of our police officers, our courts, our district attorneys, where you can steal up to $950 worth of product, and it's only a slap on the wrist citation.
Some cities aren't even prosecuting.
They're not even prosecuting, and they can't.
Small business owners that can't afford a $950. How do you afford that loss if you're a small business owner? That's crazy.
Well, that's why San Francisco is one of the worst ones. I mean, it used to be such a beautiful city, regardless of politics, but their policies and that one being a major one, they're losing grocery stores. I think it was Albertsons that shut down 17 other grocery stores just in the city. Vons is about to leave right now too. Walgreens is getting ready to get out of there because people are walking in, filling up their shopping carts, and they're literally look like they're shopping because they're doing the math. And then if it doesn't add up to $950, they walk out.
Exactly.
And police officers won't respond because the DA has already said, we're not prosecuting.
The jails won't take anybody of those crimes. So these are liberal policies backed by the ACLU in 2014, Proposition 47 and 57, which decriminalize felonies. So you have a list of drug use, drug trafficking charges that are now down from a felony to a misdemeanor citation, and then you have a list of criminal acts, grand larceny, trespassing, some assaults, and theft, up to $950. And so, we ask why our homeless crisis has skyrocketed. Well, if you have an environment where you're addicted to drugs, it's $5 to get a hit on the street right now because the drugs are flowing over from Mexico. Damn. And if you're on drugs, they come from a family that has.
I don't know, was that cheap?
It is $5, $5 a hit, and you're strung out on drugs for whatever reason, and you're not gonna be able to function in society. You're not gonna be able to work, right? So you have to provide for yourself. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna commit crimes property damages, theft, going in stores, stealing, to you got to feed yourself. You want to book yourself a hotel. You got to, all these other, living things. And so you're creating this economy of chaos where you're homeless because you can't get a job. You can't have a place because you're addicted to drugs, and you're satisfying your addiction and your lifestyle by committing crimes, and there's no consequence. So you're creating this cycle of chaos. And that's why about 80% of the individuals on our streets are addicted to drugs, dealing with mental health issues, and are just freely living like that, causing impacts in our communities. The other 20% of the homeless population are legitimately, schizophrenic, talking to the trees. They need to be on medication. They need real help. They're in their wheelchair, physically disabled. I met a senior who, she's a retired nurse. Her husband passed away. She couldn't afford her rent. She's working at Albertsons, living out of her car. She's not on drugs. She's not drinking alcohol. This is just, she can't afford to live. These are the people we need to be spending our resources on.
We're going to see more of that.
Exactly. And so government needs to get their act together, stop throwing money at a problem. It's not fixing it, and really deal with the underlying root issues. We need to rescind Prop 47 and 57 so that our law enforcement, their hands are not tied behind their back, and we can really start dealing with these issues. Because prior to this, if you got arrested for drug charges, major drug charges, I'm not talking about just pot or weed, forget that. I'm talking about heroin, fentanyl, whatever it is, and you go before the judge, he's going to say either you're going to prison with a felony, or you're going to this 6-10 week program and we'll reduce your charges and you can get your life together. There was a choice, and most of the individuals went through that choice. And I can't tell you how many individuals went through that program and then they went out the other end and they actually got their life together. Some didn't, some went right back into it, but you have to have that intervention.
Yep.
So to speak,
that
right?
Rehab.
Exactly. And we don't have that right now. Because right now it's a free for all.
In a part, the system is designed for. It's punishment also for your crimes, but also, can you be rehab? And that's, I think, a big one for drug users, that for whatever reason, something led them to that point to use that
rock bottom, they call it. Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yep.
So from there, give them an opportunity. Fix your life, fix yourself. Yep. If you're already good at one point, you can do it again.
Yep.
And if not, like you said, you have a choice. You want to go to prison, or do you want to go try and rehab yourself?
Exactly.
But yeah, all that's gone because it's not even criminalized anymore. No. So now they're not even given that opportunity. It's just, you got a needle? It's got heroin in it? All right, see you later. And they walk away.
Exactly. In the state of California's policies are what's called housing first, which sounds great, but the problem is they're looking at the homeless population as exactly the same, and 100% of the homeless population, they're trying to get into government subsidized housing. The problem with that model is, number one, we don't have enough land and resources to build enough of these government subsidized taxpayer paid units to put 100% of the homeless population in. We need to focus this housing first model on that 80% that actually need it, that will be taken care of by government for the rest of their life. And for the other, or for the 20%, but for the other 80%, we need to have compassion, but it needs to be accountable. We need these individuals on a pathway to being self-sufficient and off of government subsidy, because it's not sustainable otherwise. And we have a state that is, it's like they want this to get worse. That's literally what they're doing.
They want them depending on government, and that's not the role of government.
I'm shaking my head because, I'm sorry, I lost everything. Nobody fucking helped me out. Yep. I didn't have a lifeline. You know what my lifeline was? Was YouTube busting my ass, staying up. That was the lifeline. Hey, wake your ass up at 4 a.m., go to the gym, lose weight so you can get in shape and go get a workout. Who said, what's broken? What's broken is you think you're owed something. You're owed nothing. That's the problem. 100%. You're owed nothing.
100%.
And that's what you're preaching. Yep. You're like, hey guys, here's the thing. We have every opportunity. I share the boys. We have every opportunity. Would you rather be poor in this country or in Africa? Ouch. That would hurt. So what I'm saying is, let's really appreciate the opportunity. And Christopher, like, man, good for you, man.
Yeah.
Like, this is what we need in our communities. Like, this is the impact. And I guarantee you, both of us are thinking, like, what difference? Holy shit, maybe we should be running for local. It all starts local. Like, who is going in office? What's your agenda?
No, absolutely.
Holy moly.
And, you know, you got to be, you know, willing to listen, surround yourself by people that are a lot smarter than you. That's my goal. I'm just a bridge. I'm kind of like this bridge of the problems, and then who's fixing it. Like this information about homelessness, I didn't learn on my own. I'm not this, you know, researching all this information and came up with this. No, I learned from nonprofits like Solutions for Change, who has been working in the community for 30 years. They have helped hundreds of families get off the street, get on with their life, and be the best American citizens they can be for their family and for their future. And I asked them, how are they so successful and government's failing? So I spent time. I went through their facilities. I asked them the tough questions. And I've worked with local government and partnering with organizations like that instead of the same old nonprofits or special interests that get the government contracts and continue to fail our communities. And so there's a huge learning curve, but if you're willing to listen and you're willing to put the time in, the experts are out there that are doing it right now. They just don't have the resources or the attention they need. And so elected officials need to partner with those brilliant minds in our community who can help fix these problems.
Because the money is being spent buying the suits.
Exactly. Yep.
Christopher Rodriguez. So how can the 49th district support you? Where did they go? How can our audience that's watching this, man, seriously, holy smokes.
No, and thank
you so much for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Wow. So how can we support you? What can our audience do?
I want to get to know you. I want to hear from you. Check out my website, rodriguezforcongress.us. Send me a message. We need volunteers. This is a grassroots community effort. We have tons of things for the community to do. Making phone calls, knocking on doors, that's not for everybody, but we need help writing postcards. We need help at meet and greets. Like, we just have so much opportunity for you to get involved. Tell your friends. If you live in the 49th, you know, send us a message. We could put a yard sign in your yard, but definitely reach out. Obviously, if you're financially able, send a few bucks. It goes a long way. I promise you, we're contacting voters and getting my story in front of them. But thank you for this opportunity. God bless you guys, and I'm excited to have met you.
Thank you for being here. We wish you nothing but luck. You know, we truly hope. I will rooting for you, even though I'm not part of the 49th. Yeah. I'm rooting for you.
Thank you,
I'm 50th. But we need and if you don't know what district you're in, it's so simple. Just Google, what congressional district am I in? And you type in your address, and that's it. But you got to know who your elected representative is, okay? Because when you want things to happen, you just hit them up. Believe me, fucking my guy knows. Daryl Isa, he fucking knows me, because when I hear something or read something, I get pissed. I fucking call. Right? Sometimes, even if you think, what if it doesn't make a difference? Well, you don't know unless you try. Okay. But at the same time, if you want change too, you got to look at who is going to be coming up for that district, who's going to be running, and do they align with the values that you want? Are they willing to make the changes that you want? And where do they come from? And I think that's important. You know, a lot of the struggles in your district because you came from nothing. Exactly. And you worked your ass off to get to where you're at, and now you're in a position to make the change, to be the bridge, like you said, the voice of the people.
Absolutely.
And so I wish you nothing but luck, man.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah. Folks, Christopher Rodriguez, we are we are rooting for you, man. I wish I was in the 49th to support this guy. Let's put him in Congress.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Thank you, guys.